What's going on, you guys? TBR here, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and well, we called it in yesterday's video now, didn't we? Welcome back to the channel, you guys. In today's video, of course, we are going to be talking about not just the end of the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration, but also, once again, what comes next, because we now officially know what is going to be happening after the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration goes away. And yeah, guys, it's pretty interesting stuff. But before we go ahead and get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so, you smash that like button and subscribe. And let's just go ahead and get into the news. Now, as always, I will have links in the description for all the things we're going to be talking about today. But if we take a look here, as you guys can see, we have the update notice and the in-game event notice for 111. And it is going to be bringing with it a new free EX character. Now, this is going to be an AS EX character that is going to be Hopeful Hotaru, who is going to be a blue element defensive type. So this Hotaru asset has been in the game files for a while. Basically, it looks like they are using old assets that have just been laying around. So hopefully this character is adjusted accordingly and is up to date with the meta nowadays, but this character's assets have been in the files for a while, like I said, so very interesting stuff that she is going to be introduced this late into her, well, I guess life cycle or whatever the case may be in the background there. But hey, at the end of the day, Hotaru fans, they don't get a lot of love. So there you go. You get a new Hotaru. And hey, that's pretty cool, I think, for a lot of you guys out there. So you should be pretty happy, especially since there was very little hope of her getting a new character in this game anyway outside of this. So that is really cool that she is going to be involved here. So this is something that is going to be structurally similar to what we normally see with these free characters for these events, which we'll talk about the events momentarily. However, first we need to talk about the new cards. We are going to be getting a new card set and a new finisher card. So this is kind of cool because this finisher can of course be used with the Hotaru that we currently have, more than likely the best version. So that'll be nice, even though that character is kind of dated outside of her striker ability. Still nice to see, but overall, we are going to be getting some cards here. We'll talk more about those momentarily. They are going to have the effects here as always. And then we are also going to be getting some imprint stones for Hotaru as well. So she is going to be getting pretty much the whole suite of what she would need in order to be properly built for this game. So pretty cool stuff overall. This includes a moon and a star stone as well. So that is very nice. This character is also going to be able to be changed up, so that, as you guys can see right there, you are going to be able to pick up her prime memories. So she is going to be pretty much up to date with everything you would expect. Hopefully the kit reflects that as well. Now, other things here, we are going to have the exchange shop. We'll talk about in the in-game event notices about what we're going to need to do in order to pick these things up. But as you guys can see here, this is how you're going to be able to pick these different items up. Another key point here is you are going to notice that we are going to have these random mystery boxes again. Chances are, if you guys didn't see my video yesterday, this is going to be where we're going to potentially be able to pick up tickets for EX Volume 8. So that is going to be something that we'll need to talk about at a later date when this stuff goes live. But at the same time, that is what I'm expecting there. And again, stuff we talked about in yesterday's video. So that pretty much summarizes everything right here. We're going to talk about the in-game events momentarily here in the separate notice, like I mentioned. We are also going to have packages because of course we are. They definitely are going to want you to buy packages for some of this stuff, but we'll talk more about that as we go through the actual update. So let's talk about the in-game event notice, because this is going to be how we're going to be able to get this character, to build this character, to get those different things we need to build her, etc. So we are going to have a couple new login events. As you guys can see, Hotaru herself is actually going to be a login character. So that is really cool. That's very nice to see. Basically, the first day you are going to be able to log in and pick her up. So that is going to be how you get Hotaru herself. Other things in here, though, we are going to have a Ruby login event as well. So this Ruby login event, of course, is going to be a harbinger of the next EX banner. Again, this is another thing we talked about in yesterday's video. Hate to keep mentioning that, but we pretty much covered all this yesterday. Almost all of this. So, but with that being said, more rubies typically means that we are going to be getting another EX banner, probably here in the next 2 weeks. That would be my assumption. So, probably the end of January, closer to the end of January. So other things in here, Dream Match Season 9, basically what this is going to tell you is Hotaru is going to be added into Dream Match. You guys can see that right there. So hopeful Hotaru, which is kind of hard to say, a bit of a tongue twister. Hopeful Hotaru. But she will be in there as well. Other things here, if we take a look, we are going to, as we can see here, have some event missions. This is going to give us some badges, so not anything too crazy there. If you're a badge chaser, should make you pretty happy. And then we get into the actual events, right? So as you guys can see, the events this time around, there aren't a ton. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to have a lucky chance event, and we're going to also have this guy down here that we'll talk about. So this guy right here is, of course, going to be the lucky chance event. You guys have played these before. Basically, you'll need to pick up these little coins you see down here, and then you'll roll on this board, and it'll randomly pick an item for you. You want to land on this guy right here, because this is going to be what you'll need in order to pick up things like her memories, things like her cards, etc. Imprint stones are also going to be something we're going to talk about as well. So overall, this is going to be something very important that you'll need, and every time you pick this up, you can then reset the board and do it all over again. So that is going to be kind of how that works. I'm sure you guys have played this before and done this before, but then you're also going to see this one right here, right? So if we take a look here, we have two different ones. You're going to have these gold ones and these green ones, right? So that is something to keep in mind because there are two different currencies. And if we actually go back here, I will show you guys, because it's kind of interesting. You'll see these two different currencies are reflected here. You're going to have the gold ones here that are going to be able to pick up these different things here, and then you're going to be able to pick up with the green ones the actual memory for Hotaru, right? So that is kind of what you're looking at there. So we have two different versions of these things. This is something new. We've never really had this before. So I'm very curious to see kind of how the implementation of this all works, but we'll have to wait and see. As you guys can see here, it is going to require separate currency as well. There's actually going to be these yellow tokens or these yellow coins, whatever you want to call them. And then there's going to be green ones to correspond with the green tiles. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. We have two different currencies and we have two different rewards that we're going to want for this exchange shop in order to build this character. So that's pretty much what we've got there, the green and yellow tiles. So very interesting. Now, when it comes to how we're going to be able to pick up these lucky chance event points, as you guys can see, this is going to be an event mission. So event missions really aren't that big of a deal anymore unless they end up really screwing up with the actual missions themselves. They typically end up being pretty straightforward and simple. However, there are times that they will put things in here that kind of suck. And the other part of these that kind of sucks at times is the fact that at the beginning, you get a ton of this stuff, but then after maybe the first day or two, it really starts to dry up. So hopefully we're able, hopefully Hotaru, hopefully we are able to pick up enough of these to at least get most everything we need out of that exchange shop, right? But then you're going to also see there's one here that is going to be for the yellow one. So pretty much from what we can tell just looking at this, there really isn't any of these event missions in here that we can see that look like they're going to be anything out of the ordinary, but I'm going to wait for implementation of all of it to kind of make a judgment call because I don't necessarily get the full breadth of knowledge just looking at this, right? So that's pretty much what we got there. It reiterates right here, the exchange shop. So again, guys, pretty simple, straightforward stuff. You do the events for these different event missions, and then you use these coins to roll on this board in order to pick these things up, right? It's kind of what we're looking at there. So again, two different style tiles is kind of different, but I'm assuming that it's just going to be more of the same. It's just that we do more of it, right? So that is pretty much what we've got as far as anything going on here. You'll see here that one of the listed items below can be obtained from opening the random mystery boxes. And as you guys can see, again, it is going to involve the EX Volume 8. So again, guys, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back with this. I'm just saying we did talk about all of this yesterday. This was stuff we pretty much 100% predicted. So good job, us. But that is pretty much what we got there. We got the new battle pass as well. This battle pass is really interesting, and I'm going to wait and see kind of on implementation what we're looking at here. But it does appear as though you're actually going to get mystery boxes. I'm assuming these are going to be kind of random mystery boxes, or it might even just be boxes where you can choose which color you want. But as you guys will see here, there's actually going to be boxes in here to pick up the coins for that board. So interesting that this is something new. Again, guys, this is something that, as far as the actual in-game events, we've seen before, but they are trying new things with it. So I do have to credit them for that. I'm just very curious how it's all going to be implemented and how it's all going to pan out, because At times, these things are great, and other times they suck. So I'm just going to take the cautiously optimistic approach of it, but you also see the mystery boxes in here. Pretty interesting stuff. But overall, guys, outside of what we're getting as far as the different in-game packages, which we'll talk about if necessary when all this stuff goes live, there really isn't a whole lot else in here that we need to talk about. Now, obviously, all of this stuff is going to follow the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration, which is going to be ending. And I think it ends now in, what, about 12, 11 hours? Somewhere in there from the time of making this video. So by the time you guys see this video, this stuff is going to have less time than even right now. So make sure that you guys go through here and you get everything that you need. If you need to roll on banners, if you need to go in and pick up more currency, if you need to grind the rush dungeon, if you need to do any of this stuff, you need to make sure that you get it done. Because if you don't do it now, you aren't going to be able to do it again, and chances of this stuff rerunning are slim to none. Right? So just make sure that you guys are happy and content with what you've got right now as far as the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration goes, because if you do not get the stuff you want right now, you're not going to be able to get it. So with that being said, you guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. You know, at the end of the day, I think the biggest takeaway from today's video is you want to make sure that you go in and use these items that are going to be expiring. You want to go in and make sure that you grind out and finish up any of the events that you haven't finished. And then the other stuff going on tomorrow, we'll talk about, but it isn't going to be anything that you really necessarily have to worry about today. Just focus on getting the stuff for the Soulcalibur 6 collaboration finished up, and don't forget your stuff, okay? Make sure you do it. I always see horror stories in the comments after these things. Make sure that you guys heed my warning now. But anyway, you guys, that's going to do it for me. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about all this stuff. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.
Continue.